fellow RotoBallers, welcome back to another edition of the Checkdown Preseason Edition. My name is Joey Christopoulos. My beautiful co-host, Tutty Guy Dave Rispoli, is right here right now. And on this edition, we are breaking down the wide receivers. We are picking one sleeper and one bust right now from your upcoming fantasy draft. Someone to maybe keep your eye on and maybe to keep your eye off of moving forward. Dave, it's great to see you. How are you?
Joey, I'm fantastic. I'm ready to talk wide receivers because I feel like out of fantasy this year, it's by far the deepest position, but that means there's a lot of diamonds in the rough to sort through, and I think we got some good ones for you guys.
Yeah, so just keep in mind as we're doing this right now, we're picking one sleeper, one bust. Sleeper basically to us means that it's someone that's taken 7th round or later in your draft right now that we think is a great value that maybe could turn into a fantasy starter for you. 5th round is someone that is drafted in the 5th round or earlier, which means that we just don't really like the value. It doesn't mean we don't like the player. We just think it's a little bit overhyped, and you could probably find better options down the road. Dave, let's get us started. Who's first?
Well, Joey, I'm excited to talk about this one because you and I are Bears fans.
Ooh, are we?
Yes, and we've been doing fantasy analysis for many, many years, and I can't remember the last time we've used the term Bears and sleeper in the same sentence. I mean, forever it was just A-Rob, like just pick A-Rob, that's it. And good luck. Hold your nose.
To be fair, I have used in a sentence before. I just watched Bears quarterback Mitch Trubisky throw a soul-crushing interception. I'm going to go turn into a sleeper in the other room, and I'm going to sleep sad this thing off. I've done that before.
We all have done. We've all been sad sleepers as Bears fans, Joey. But this year, in the 13th round, our second wide receiver entering his second year, we're all about Darnell Mooney this year, Joey. He's absolutely a sleeper. People are absolutely sleeping on him, but tell the good people why they should wake up and draft Darnell Mooney.
I'm so excited about this, Dave, because all the pieces are falling into place. Not only do you have a rookie, like a 5th-round pick out of Tulane that comes out of nowhere and plays great on your own team, but all of a sudden now you look and his ADP is perfect. I think it's in the 110 to 130 area right now, as you mentioned, one of the final rounds of a standard league draft. And look, this is a guy that might not necessarily turn into, a wide receiver 1 on your team, but could certainly turn into a flex option and definitely become a starter. He saw the targets last year, and then we come into training camp, and what do we hear from everyone about how great his route running is? He already has top end speed. Now the route running is really coming into the forefront. He's had great chemistry with Andy Dalton and Justin Fields throughout this first portion of the 2 weeks of training camp. Obviously, opinions and things evolve over time, but right now the dude seems poised to really take it to another level this year. Look at the numbers. The numbers are pretty solid, but here's something to make you feel a little bit better. According to some fancy stats online, if you look it up, Darnell Mooney, 25% of his attempts last year were deemed uncatchable. He ranked 10th in the NFL in unrealized yards, which means the yards that could have been. And Dave, you know this better than anyone else as a Bears fan. What meme did we watch any more videos or memes more than Darnell Mooney absolutely cooking a cornerback on the side, being wide open, and then either being overthrown or not being thrown the ball to at all? Let's try and get the guy the rock this year. I like Darnell Mooney as my sleeper for the wide receiver.
Yeah, Joey, if I were to make a poster and put it behind me, it'd be of him just absolutely breaking the ankles of Jalen Ramsey, something not a lot of rookies can say. This is the 7th most targeted rookie since 2017, Joey, meaning that we were peppering him with targets. As you said, those targets were sailing well beyond his head or going well before him. Thanks, Mitch Trubisky. But guess what? Now we have a rookie who arguably has the best deep ball of any of the prospects going into this year. Justin Fields has a beautiful deep ball. They're a match made in heaven. I absolutely love this combo. And Joey, this is the second receiver on the Bears, and he's being drafted amongst other second receivers on their teams, but really bad teams and really bad fantasy receivers. I mean, he's going behind Emmanuel Sanders, Henry Ruggs, the ghost of AJ Green, and Cole Beasley, who's definitely going to get COVID by week 3, Joey. He's not going to play. I take Darnell Mooney over any of those guys any day of the week. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's do it. Sign me up for Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, another quick one just to throw out there is a guy like Marvin Jones is in that same area, and you're like, maybe Marvin Jones has fantasy fatigue, but every single year Marvin Jones ends up on a fantasy roster, and guess what? He usually ends up in a starting lineup sooner or later. These are the guys that might not – I mean, he's the veteran, maybe going the other way in his career. Mooney's on the way up, but these are guys that can kind of add some depth at the bottom of your roster that if they start to flash a little bit can become solid, consistent contributors on your fantasy team. I think that's why we like Darnell Mooney this year as our sleeper. Let's move on over to our bust. Dave, we're going to keep it in the NFC North right now. There's a guy with a little bit of pedigree, a little bit of name recognition, but we just aren't buying the hype, and we certainly are not buying the value this year. Who is your bust?
Joey, I was hooked on a Thielen, and then I went to rehab and kicked my habit. Adam Thielen.
That's a week 5 joke. That's a week 5 joke, baby. You're back. Dave is back.
The beat writers are going crazy over this one, Joey. They love me this preseason. So the end of the 5th round on Yahoo, for me, it's not the player. I love Adam Thielen. I think he's going to be fine, right? He's like the poster child for, that's a fine pick. But it's just about the guys he's going around. You're telling me you'd prefer Adam Thielen than Cooper Kupp on a Matt Stafford-led Rams, DJ Moore, Tyler Lockett, Deontay Johnson, a guy who gets 10 targets a game? I just can't see it this year. He was basically 14 touchdowns last year and under 1,000 yards, which means the touchdowns are going to regress. So you're paying a 5th round price for a guy who's going to get around 900 yards again and maybe not even double-digit touchdowns. I'm just getting weird feelings about the Vikings. And maybe it's all this, they're going to put Kirk Cousins in a plexiglass box talk. Maybe it's Justin Jefferson already injured. The coach kind of throwing Irv Smith under the bus and saying, poo-pooing his breakout. I don't know. There's just a lot of weird things happening around the Vikings. And I almost feel like they're about to take a huge step back. And it may definitely be in the passing game. I think this is going to be a team that goes back to the run. I just don't think with Justin Jefferson emerging, there's enough firepower to go around. I just don't think there's enough catchable balls going around, Joey, to warrant this kind of draft price. I mean, it's not the Rams. It's not the Bucks. We're seeing Evans and Godwin going in the same range. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods going in the same range. I don't feel like we should be seeing Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen going in the same range. I think there's a huge disparity there.
I completely agree with you. I think the first preseason game, as we're recording this, the first preseason game is going to happen tonight, so a lot can happen, a lot can change. But, man, the Vikings camp right now, it's a total mess. It's not trending in the right direction, so we'll see what happens. And as it stands, I'm right there with you, man. Adam Thielen, I think he's the most deceiving fantasy value right now on the board because of those 14 touchdowns. There's a couple of reasons why, just through that offense, 9 games of 60 yards or less receiving. He was targeted. He saw only 10 targets 4 times in a game last year, and he had 3 or fewer receptions 7 times. This is the 2021 half PPR, full PPR leagues are pretty much the standard now, right? Standard leagues are the bygone era. You got to get something for those receptions, and Adam Thielen just isn't doing it. Now, look, 3 or 4 years ago, look, he was that elite receiver, but if you look, he was getting 130 to 150 targets per year when he was racking up those big numbers and becoming the Adam Thielen that we all know, and the reason why he's probably ranked the way that he is. Last year, he only saw 108. I'm just not buying it, Dave. I mean, he could turn into a guy that maybe improve upon. I think he had 74 receptions last year. He can improve upon that maybe, but again, can he really get over 1,100 yards? Is he going to get to 10 touchdowns again? Color me very skeptical. I don't like Adam Thielen's value at all. And as you mentioned so perfectly, there are so many wide receivers I like way more than Adam Thielen rounds later that I would rather go in that option. And Adam Thielen's my bust.
Yeah, he's just changed as the way that they're using him, Joey. 8 yards per target last year. The year before, remember, he had the most consecutive 100-yard games. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Thielen has 0 100-yard games in the 2021 season. His ADOT is so short. He's basically the Juju Smith-Schuster of the NFC North. No thanks.
So that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our wide receiver edition right here on the Checkdown. We picked one sleeper and one bust right now. Just something, a little food for thought while you're doing your mock drafts and getting ready for your fantasy drafts coming up in the next couple of weeks. Remember, opinions evolve, but if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you drop them right below here. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Joey Christopoulos. My co-host is David Rispoli. Make sure you check out all the great other RotoBaller videos that are going on right now. And Dave, just take us away with a great RotoBaller rhyme out sign.
How dare you put this on me? This is your horrible bit. You're doing the weird outro, Joey.
Roto-ball for nothing. We're roto-balling.
Oh, buddy, you are way up that stream without a paddle.
It's early. It's very early. I didn't stretch today.